In recent decades, we've seen dramatic social and political changes across the globe. Some view these shifts as progressive and essential to a more inclusive future, while others argue that they are tearing apart the very fabric of society. But what is it that makes these changes so controversial? Today, we'll be discussing three key areas that often spark debate: the degradation of the nuclear family, the impact of mass immigration, and the growing concerns around censorship of speech. Let's start by looking at the nuclear family. For much of modern history, the nuclear family, typically consisting of two parents and their children, has been seen as the foundation of a stable society. However, over the past few decades, there has been a noticeable decline in this family structure. Higher divorce rates, an increase in single-parent households, and more couples choosing not to have children are all factors contributing to this shift. Some argue that the breakdown of the traditional family unit leads to negative outcomes, such as higher rates of poverty, delinquency, and emotional instability in children. A lack of stable family structures, they claim, can erode the sense of responsibility and community that once held society together. But others argue that this change is reflective of more personal freedom, allowing individuals to break away from outdated norms that don't fit modern realities. In an age where more diverse family structures are accepted, perhaps society isn't crumbling, but instead evolving. Moving on to the issue of mass immigration. Immigration has always been a part of human history, with people seeking better opportunities or fleeing from danger. But in recent years, many countries have experienced large-scale immigration, often prompting intense debates. Supporters of open borders argue that immigration brings fresh talent, diversity, and economic growth. However, critics often highlight the strain it can put on social services, jobs, and housing, not to mention concerns over cultural assimilation. They argue that when mass immigration occurs too quickly, it can lead to a loss of national identity and community cohesion, leaving both immigrants and local populations feeling disconnected. At the heart of this debate is the balance between compassion for those seeking a better life and the protection of national interests. How do we foster a society that is both welcoming and stable? Are the challenges brought on by immigration a result of policy failures or inevitable consequences of globalization? These are questions that strike at the core of how we envision the future of our communities. Finally, let's discuss free speech. In recent years, there has been growing concern about the rise of censorship, particularly online. From social media platforms banning controversial figures to universities canceling speakers whose views are deemed offensive, the line between protecting individuals from harm and stifling open discourse has become increasingly blurred. Free speech advocates argue that this trend toward censorship undermines the very principles of democracy, where open debate is essential for the exchange of ideas and societal progress. On the other hand, supporters of speech restrictions believe that certain ideas, especially those that can incite hatred, violence, or discrimination, should not be given a platform. The rise of cancel culture has further fueled this debate. In an age where one wrong tweet or public statement can lead to social or professional exile, many wonder if we've lost the ability to engage in healthy disagreement. While protecting people from harm is important, have we gone too far in silencing voices that challenge the status quo? This issue taps into deep concerns about individual freedom, societal norms, and the future of public discourse. As we explore these topics, it's clear that each of them touches on fundamental questions about the kind of society we want to live in. Are we willing to embrace a changing definition of family? How do we manage the challenges of mass immigration while staying true to our values of compassion and opportunity? And where do we draw the line between harmful speech and free expression? None of these issues have simple answers, but by examining them more closely, we can better understand the complex forces shaping our world today. What do you think? Are these changes leading us toward a better, more inclusive future? Or are they undermining the foundations that once held our society together? As we consider these complex issues, it's essential to recognize that beneath the surface of these societal shifts lies a darker, more sinister potential. While some may view these changes as steps toward progress, others fear they could lead us down a treacherous path, threatening the very essence of our communities and values. Take, for instance, the erosion of the nuclear family. The decline of this foundational structure not only contributes to emotional instability and poverty, but also raises alarming questions about the future of social cohesion. Without stable family units, we risk creating a generation of individuals who may lack a sense of identity and belonging. This could lead to a disconnection from societal norms, where personal responsibility is diminished and the idea of community fades away. In this fragmented landscape, the potential for increased crime and antisocial behavior grows, as individuals may turn to gangs or other negative influences for a sense of belonging and purpose. Moreover, the absence of traditional family roles can lead to the rise of authoritarian ideologies. When individuals are isolated, they become more susceptible to radicalization and manipulation by those seeking to exploit their vulnerabilities. In a world where traditional values are under constant attack, there's a danger that extremist groups may gain traction, using the chaos of social fragmentation to further their agendas. The consequences of this could be catastrophic, resulting in increased division and violence within our society. Turning our attention to mass immigration, we must confront the unsettling reality that rapid demographic changes can create fertile ground for resentment and conflict. While diversity can enrich societies, unchecked immigration can also lead to cultural clashes that undermine social harmony. As native populations feel threatened by the loss of their identity, we may witness a rise in nationalism and xenophobia, potentially spiraling into violent confrontations. In extreme cases, this can lead to the emergence of far-right movements, driven by fear and hostility toward newcomers. The economic strain that accompanies mass immigration can exacerbate these tensions as competition for jobs and resources breeds resentment among locals. When communities feel that their way of life is being threatened, the backlash can manifest in aggressive policies and attitudes toward immigrants, further polarizing society. This cycle of fear and division can become self-perpetuating, leading to an environment where coexistence becomes increasingly difficult, if not impossible. Finally, let's delve deeper into the implications of censorship and the rise of cancel culture. While proponents of censorship argue that it protects vulnerable groups from harmful speech, this approach often backfires. The chilling effect on free expression can stifle innovation, creativity, and the very discussions necessary for societal progress. In the absence of open dialogue, we risk fostering an echo chamber where dissenting views are not just silenced, but actively punished. This suppression of ideas can create an environment of distrust and paranoia, where people are afraid to express their thoughts or challenge the prevailing narrative. In a society where free speech is under threat, there's a looming danger that those in power may use censorship as a tool to maintain control. By restricting access to alternative viewpoints, elites can manipulate public perception, shaping reality to fit their agendas. This manipulation can lead to a more homogenized society, one where critical thinking is discouraged and conformity is rewarded. The erosion of public discourse not only undermines democratic principles, but also opens the door to authoritarianism, where dissent is quelled and individual freedoms are sacrificed in the name of social stability. As we grapple with these pressing issues, it's crucial to remain vigilant against the darker implications of these societal changes. While some may view the evolution of family structures, the complexities of immigration, and the need for speech regulation as positive advancements, we must not overlook the potential consequences. The danger lies in allowing these trends to spiral out of control, leading us toward a future where division, fear, and authoritarianism replace the values of community, dialogue, and mutual respect.